We'll see. Here's April. Hello everybody, it's live with Cheryl and April. Now April made this cute little guy out of clay, and I'll show some of the other stuff people made. Little bowls and beads, acorns, leaves.
Very nice.
Very nice.
You gotta continue to dry.
Okay. I'm going to trade spots. Oh, I need my bucket of clay. I want the whole bucket. Give me the whole bucket of clay.
Okay.
Okay, folks. I'm here at the Sacred Fire, and some people think I'm here having a sacred fire for uranium, and I'm not. I'm not here having a sacred fire for uranium. Uranium is one of 37 critical minerals, rare earth elements, all kinds of mining, whether it's clean energy or old energy. It's all clean energy isn't clean. It's new energy, but it takes new things, and some of the new things it takes is critical earth, rare earth minerals. And why I'm here having a sacred fire at this site of ancient clay, because Creator made me fall into ancient clay, and this clay only comes above earth at few spots on the planet, and one of them because of the Bay of Fundy ecosystem and the glacial ice, and the most Bay of Fundy tightest hides in the world, the World UNESCO tidal flats. We have a whole heck of a bunch of critical rare earth minerals in our water systems. In our, they're formed from the glacial period. They're deposited way down in the earth. Usually you got to blast them to get at them, and use tons of water, more water than you should to get that, right? So I'm going to show you this. This is the mud I fell in. It looks like mud, except for it looks like frosting. Oh, I just want to touch it. It's soft, it's beautiful. It hangs like this. It will not, see that? Why it does this? It's pure clay. From way deep down, as far as you can get. And the reason I have it is because I have a part of, found a vein that's below the property, below the sea level. And every tide brings the tide in and out, and it's a estuary, not the river. If I was in the river, I couldn't get this mud. I'd be dead. It's unviable. But because I have an estuary over here that's collecting the tide, all of a sudden, after 3 years of my breach over here, I have critical earth mud. Critical earth. It's called ionic clay. And ionic clay is different from the other ways they get clay, where it's in the dry rock and they blast it, explode it, and use a whole bunch of water. This clay is already wet and cleaned. Mother Nature cleans this to give me pure, beautiful clay. It's also healing clay. This is the clay the Mikmaq would use when we, in all our traditional ways, in our pottery, the Mikmaq used clay earth, or critical earth, clay earth minerals, because this clay so deep is perfect. It doesn't need to be blasted, doesn't need to be cleaned. Mother Nature, with the tide, in and out, cleans it every day. And the cleanest, the best of the stuff gets heavy. And the heavier it gets, it goes to the bottom and it settles in these water areas. So I have a miracle clay. And people started trying it. Their faces are looking good. Their skin conditions are clearing up. Some major autoimmune diseases. Just a few people have been trying it over the last few weeks. And I'm here. I have samples if anybody wants any. But the reason I'm talking about this and Trump and Carney and the tariffs in the world and why Trump wants Greenland. He wants Greenland and he wants Canada. They can't support the big fat goddamn, I don't want to say anything bad about Americans, but they're over consumers. Everything is big there. They eat too much. They use too much. They waste electricity. They build things we don't need. They go to frig to space for no damn right. They have no damn right going to space. Honest to God, we have star people and ancestors up there. What the hell are they doing in space? I know we all got spoiled with innovation and technology and satellites and, you know, shame on us. Shame on us. So, we knew that nobody wants to invest in uranium in Nova Scotia, and Houston said, you know, we're going to have uranium. He knew nobody was going to invest. He knew that. Yet he scared us all. He had every town hall starting to get organized. People that don't protest were getting all upset, their property values and this and that. And, you know, all the Uglaw CEOs are coming out, and they all knew her back, and like, they don't even know how to not protest, but we've learned as Indigenous peoples for hundreds of years since you've been here, not to let the government manipulate us, not to believe them, not any of this. So we're a little shrewd, a little more shrewd than the average person, because you got generations of us, hundreds of years of us fighting for our rights and treaties back. So that brings me to where I'm at right now. I'm on the Sebago-Negatic River. April, can you lift that for a minute and show everybody a little landscape of the whole river, or whatever you can. So this is a Shubenacadie River, Nova Scotia, Canada, Bay of Fundy. This is the birthplace of hockey and the birthplace of the birthplace of hockey and the birthplace of Canada. The Mikmaq, Sebago-Negative treaties, the Covenant chain of treaties, and all the Mikmaq relations happened on this highway. This was the Trans-Canada, or the Trans-Mikmaq highway. Everything happened here. So, we're on this river. Trump wants our critical rare earth elements. Carney, our Prime Minister, just made legislation to pass July 1st. This is an important date, July 1st. That gives us so many weeks. And in that legislation, he's removing Aboriginal rights from the Canadian Constitution. That's what he's doing. Can you believe that? He's removing Aboriginal rights from the Canadian Constitution. 345 court cases, amounts of treaties, agreements, negotiations, sacred covenants, wiped them out on July, and passing it July 1st with his super majority, or his old majority, whatever. And what he's going to do is saying that his cabinet can approve national energy projects in the public interest. He's going to approve national energy projects like pipelines and these wind loops and everything else without not just Aboriginals, Canadians and Aboriginal both. Nobody has to say. He's going to do whatever the heck he wants. Why? He thinks we become self-sufficient from Trump, and he's a banker, and he seems like a nice guy, and he's saying the right things. But you don't make legislation like that. You do not make legislation like that in a country of Canada that's based on the foundational treaties of the Mikmaq Nation here. Canada was born here in Mikmaki. The same Canada Mikmaq people that were partners to this treaty are on the very river systems, running from DFO, being arrested for selling lobster, not able to make a livelihood on or off reserve. And then he talks about trade free trade amongst the 13 provinces. I'm getting back to why Trump wants Canada. But I'm telling you what Carney's doing is the wrong approach. What he is doing is going to make it us a sitting ducks. We're just going to be a sitting duck on the river by ourselves. Nobody to help us. Easy to access our minerals. If he destroys Indigenous rights, Indigenous consent, and the environmental stewardship responsibilities of all Canadians, and passes legislation, then we're sitting ducks. The best way to beat that is to do what I'm trying to do here at my little inlet where I have little clay. This is what we're going to call it, a pottery sovereignty movement. Pottery sovereignty movement. The pottery sovereignty movement will work because the entry points and exit points for critical rare earth minerals that are now in our territories is around clay. Clay is the protector of critical rare earth minerals. They're either going to get it deep in the rocks and blast them, or they're going to tear up our water systems and harvest them and do whatever they want to get them. So the way the pottery sovereignty movement would work is I established within reach of the water, 20-30 meters from my source of critical earth mineral access, a sacred fire. We have an encampment. We're building a fire kiln, and we're going to reclaim this land, that clay, back to the Mikmaq women, back to the Mikmaq people. So for the last 3 days, I had my clay, and this is the first time I'm cooking it and testing it. But it's the first time that I'm actually cooking and seeing if my clay survives the fire. So in the sacred fire, I made a bunch of these shibby tree acorns. I dried them out for a few weeks. So then they were just bone dry. And then we put them in the fire for the last 3 days. In order to turn clay into pottery, you need a kiln that gets to 1,000 or something. So I have some grandfather rocks in the sacred fire that are keeping them the temperature hot, and we get the fire going. And so tomorrow we're going to let the fire go out at dusk tomorrow evening. But what we did is establish a Aboriginal Mikmaq treaty right at the entry point of this critical earth clay mineral. And not only are we doing that, we're bringing Mikmaq people here. I had Mikmaq women here. I had Mikmaq children. I had non-Mikmaq children and non-Mikmaq people here making clay, learning about what we have here. And you know, when they said there's going to be no uranium in Nova Scotia, everyone said, oh yeah, great, we can all go home. We can't all go home. We cannot leave these sacred, critical, rare earth clays unprotected. This clay, I can't believe it, but look, I want to see that. Look how beautiful that is. Look how beautiful it is. It's just, see it. Can you see it? Yeah. We can't leave our medicines unprotected. Because what critical rare earth minerals is our medicines. These heal people. They heal your skin. They heal all kinds of things. People all over the world are coming for these mud baths. And the Mikmaq lived to be 140, and we used this mud. And Jonathan Beadle came by today and was telling me how we would bath once a year for whatever purposes. But the Mikmaq would come here to this encampment from all over the territory. And they'd come together, would make pottery, we'd play in the mud, we'd jump. Sure, we jumped in the river at high tide, but not low tide. So this is such an important reconnection to Mikmaki through our sacred clays, our sacred muds, our sacred pottery, and an ancient tradition that the Mikmaq have had for centuries. And all indigenous peoples all over the world were potters, and they knew this critical rare earth mud. I couldn't find it. I knew it was there because they were saying, oh, they just roll it out. And everybody else that gathers mud, they soak it, they rinse it, they clean it, they dry it. The Mikmaq mud, we can actually, within not too long at all, we can handle it. This one's a little wet because I had it a little wet, but you can handle it and you can roll it almost immediate. That's how pure from the land it is. And you just kind of slap it in the mud. Actually, you guys all should come and play. But what I'm getting at, I had it in my poor hands. What I'm getting at is just because Tim Houston says, you know, nobody wants to do uranium mining here, that he's not going to go after all the other mining, all the other critical rare earth locations in Mikmaki, anywhere in the Bay of Fundy. River systems, most unique, beautiful place in the world. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do three things. One, we're going to finish my sacred fire. Once the sacred fire's done and my little acorns come out of the Mikmaq fire in the kiln, then we would have established the first pottery, Mikmaq pottery encampment in hundreds of years. Hundreds of years since the last time we accessed critical earth minerals or clays. These don't pop out of the earth often, and to pop up here was nothing short of a freaking miracle. And I swear it's a miracle. People might think I'm crazy, but when miracles happen, you do what you have to do. So I have a sacred fire, I have acorns, and we're growing them, and we're creating history here. One clay encampment at a time. So when we had Alton Gas, when we made the truck house and we put the eel traps in, we made it constitutional. When we set up this encampment, we gathered harvest our clays the traditional way. We lit the fire. We cooked our pottery, and we're cooking it now. And we're building the infrastructure for a traditional encampment. And I have lots of friends, Margie and Jonathan, and I can't even begin to tell you Margie and Millbrook's crew, and I can't mention them, but they're all going to give gifts tomorrow because I don't want to miss anyone, so I'm going to stop there. They're going to get little acorns. My fire keepers are going to get traditional acorns to carry with them forever and ever. But I think it's important that we do this. We need to protect our water and protect the Bay of Fundy. So this encampment here and the establishment of an encampment and a sacred fire is one, we want to protect the Bay of Fundy as a protected ecosystem and personhood status. And the Maori, they have a river in New Zealand, and we have the same law, the same rights, same commonwealth, and the same indigenous rights and responsibilities to our water systems, that it is Mikmaq law. This is a living person. This is, if you don't believe it, come spend the night. Or come tend the fire and sit by and watch the fish jump, the geese and the frogs and the eagles. And it's been the most amazing time to sit by the river here and work the clay and tend the fire and share stories with people and see Mikmaki come together. So one, Bay of Fundy has personhood status. Two, we're going to watch from this encampment. Anybody wants to access our resources, we're going to have clay encampments all over the territory at critical points. You want critical minerals, we're going to have encampments at critical points, and you're not going to do anything without the full strength of the treaty and the constitution of this country. So Carney, even though you're trying to change the legislation, you can't. You can't. The full intent, spirit intent of the treaties were signed on this river with our people. And we know what the intent was, and we know the strength of those treaties. And that's why you see the Mikmaq from Sabaganagity district fighting tooth and nail for the rest of our lives, our existence, to honor the spirit and intent of our treaties and to protect Mikmaq. So Trump wants Greenland. He's picked Greenland because it's got the Northwest Passage and he wants to go through Canada. He needs the Northwest Passage. He needs Greenland's critical earth minerals, and he thinks Greenland's a sitting duck because they're a small nation, a population of indigenous peoples. So he's going to go and wipe out, put in military bases in Greenland right now. You see what he's doing with his own people in LA. Can you imagine what he's going to do to the indigenous people in Greenland? And then, you know, they're gearing up to set war on Canada. We thought we were good neighbors, and he made us into enemies, and he made us enemies of his state. His people believe we're a bad thing, and we're not good, and we're freeloaders and everything else. And so he's coming after our critical rare earth minerals. He doesn't care about our country. He doesn't care about our treaties. He doesn't care about the makeup of Canada. And so if we open them up, Houston, without Indigenous rights, if we open them up, Prime Minister Carney, without Indigenous laws and protections, then we in Canada are all vulnerable to takeovers. We are all vulnerable to a takeover of the whole friggin' country. The only thing is, the Mikmaq have a treaty with the USA. And the American legislators have already recognized that treaty, and we have free trade with the U.S. And so those tariffs are illegal. So we're going to come after Trump. We're not afraid of Trump. We're not. So Houston, Tim, if I'm not afraid of Trump, and we'll die for the river, there's a good reason for me. Carney, we're not afraid of Trump. So you can't speed up and rush this legislation for July 1st. This is my birthday. You think it's all, oh, we'll get all patriotic and everything? Oh no, we're going to be unpatriotic. You're going to see unpatriotic. Because Indigenous rights have to be protected, because Indigenous rights protect water. Indigenous rights protect Canadians. And so, don't be too happy, Nova Scotians, that this uranium is, you know, gone. That's one of 30-some critical minerals that Carney and them are trying to get out to make us sit-in ducks. It's like putting the apple pie in the kitchen window for Trump. The easier you make it to access our critical rare earth minerals, the easier it is to take our apple pie out of the kitchen window. So I know that was a long friggin' conversation spiel from the first pottery encampment in Mikmaq in hundreds of years. But I think it's really important that we have this conversation and we don't get too comfortable just because, you know, nobody wanted to come here do uranium. You know why they didn't want to do uranium in Nova Scotia? Because the Mikmaq rights are strong here. Can't get past the Mikmaq. So, battle on. One piece of clay at a time. This, my ladies, can save the earth. And with that, I'm going to get back to tending my fire. And April's going to show you the river and then end this conversation. And anybody wants to come down, we're here till tomorrow evening. But if you want to come anytime, just reach out.